The International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
Good evening, I'm Maggie Forciero. In the news tonight, LPM calls for City Council to review remuneration system. PSUN urges civil servants to vote in favour of nationwide strike. COVID-19 vaccination card forger granted bail. Northern regions record low mahangu production. And Roundup Business on One, Comments Corner, Sport and the weather. The Landless People's Movement leader Bernard Swartboy said that the City of Windhoek Council needs to review their remuneration system, stating that it is excessive. Swartboy made these remarks after reports emerged that the City of Windhoek's mayor and member of LPM, Sade Governors, is receiving double benefits from the city, which is irregular according to the city's remuneration policy.
LPM leader Bernard Swartboy at a press conference said that the right thing to do is to change the remuneration system and not impose it on SADC governors. He said the remuneration system is a gravy train that was created by the ruling party.
As far as we are concerned, the city of Windhoek is in a mess. The city of Windhoek councillors get paid for site visits, for presentations where you business people want to come and make a presentation. The fact that you have the attention of a councillor means the councillor gets something. So why are we not writing about all of this? Why are we not complaining about the entire system, where for every site visit, where they go to Gorenga reclamation plant, where they go to Groothout, where they go for inspection, they get money for a workshop where they are being capacitated, they are being paid to sit there. I'm not talking about S&T. When they travel, then they get S&T. So the council system of the city and maybe of others is a gravy train. It's a gravy train. No wonder we struggle to sometimes find Sade and others, Ivan them, at the party head office because they have site visits, they have other important things to do, because for every site visit, for every workshop, for everything here, they get paid. That's the context that I thought investigative journalists would cover. To say, perhaps there's a bigger problem. And who created it? The system. Led by who? By the ruling party. Well, opposition party in many parts of the country, but the ruling party of the central government created this system. Some people now want to impose this system as an invention of SADC governors and of LPM. Are you the only one getting that money?
No.
All of you are getting it?
Yes.
So, right. City of Windhoek gravy train. Write it. So that they can, if they are serious political parties, go and change this. Let them go and change this. That's what I would say would be the right thing to do. Because actually, what is the 43,000 for? To do what? Because this is supposed to be the work. So you get paid this amount for the work. So what is this? What is it, just to wear the chain? The 39,000 of the deputy mayor. What is it? Because everything else, meetings and all of these things, you are paid. So why are you paid a 43,000 if you can be? So you are paid double. And they have segmented those payments into little things: workshops, site visits, this and this and that. There's a problem with the city of Windhoek. It's not a SADC problem. It's a gravy train created by the Southwest African People's Organization. They never wrote about it when Swapo was in charge. Yes. But some of these journalists need to get to look other political parties look bad. Come on. ERPM is also now eating. Yeah, what? Yeah, it is. Go and change this thing. Why do you need this monies? Oh, your worship, why do you need all of these monies? Why do you need all of these monies? Imagine if I were then at the city, how many meetings I would have called. Special meetings, extraordinary meetings, a meeting because the cleaners are not cleaning the overdrive, it's an agenda point, a meeting because the cars are not starting on time. Car wash days. I was going to invite many people to invite us to sites. This is a back door to self-enrichment as far as I'm concerned. This here. But they are not questioning some of the journalists. Why are they not questioning it? So let's be honest.
The mayor of the city of Windhoek, Sadegh Governors, stated that the report was misleading and created an impression and narrative that she pocketed money from the city in a dishonest manner.
Mr. Eddie, I just quickly want to say the impression and narrative created to suggest that I have pocketed 57,000 for the past 6 months is quite dishonest. It's implying deceitfulness in my character and behavior. As an ordinary councillor, I receive an allowance of 6,347. As a mayor, the transport allowance is then 9,520. A difference of that is 3,173, which is a top up simply because of the portfolio of the mayor. So that one I also just want to just to clarify. So that means that it's actually 19,038 that I have received for the past 6 months. The narrative also puts down and says that I pocketed and made a profit. Pocketing per definition, it means that I've stolen or I've helped myself or misappropriated, that I'm a thief, that I've embezzled or ripped off council through my 6 months as a mayor. I have not profited from it. I have not pocketed any of the said finance.
In terms of Section 18, subsection 1, and to such conditions the minister may impose, the municipal or town council or village council may pay or provide its members such a remuneration, allowances or other benefits as council may determine. Any remuneration, allowances or benefits paid or provided by municipal council or town council or village council in terms of subsection 1 may not exceed such benefits as the minister may deem from time to time. So that means that councillors are able to decide what the benefits are of councillors, and obviously with the approval from the minister. So we can look at the policy and we can change it, and obviously with the consultation with all the other councillors as well. We are also looking at changing looking at the S&T policy of the organisation, so that will then be done. Mumbu, the
Governors stated that the council is looking into the remuneration policy and make possible amendments.
Free shopping is back at Spar, where we're putting smiles on the faces of thousands of Spar Rewards customers when they win their shopping for free. Just shop any participating product, swipe your Spar Rewards card, and go big with Nola mayonnaise for just $26.99 and Huggies Dry Comfort Nappies value pack for only $144.99. Win your shopping instantly, only at Spar.
The Public Service Union of Namibia called on civil servants to turn up in numbers next week for a ballot exercise that will determine whether they should go on a nationwide strike. This comes after negotiations on salary increments between government and bargaining bodies reached a deadlock.
Deputy Secretary General of the Public Service Union of Namibia said the government is dismissive of salary increments of civil servants while money is misappropriated through misplaced priorities and reckless financial expenditure. The union has thus urged civil servants to vote in favor of a strike at the ballot, which is planned for Monday and Tuesday next week.
According to the report by the Auditor General, Mr. Junius Kanjege, the Office of the President in the 2019-2020 and 2020-2021 financial years, it spent 48 million on travel and subsistence expenses alone, while nothing came out from these travels. The President and Ministers are globetrotting, claiming incentives in excess of millions while the plight of the workers is ignored. This year alone, 2.5 million was spent on a one-day event to celebrate the independence of Namibia. While we say that we don't have money to increase the salaries of the civil servants, billions of taxpayers' money were also channeled to upgrade the farms of the Vice President, His Excellency Bumba Nangolo. As workers, we implore every civil servant to vote in the numbers and vote to strike as a collective resolve against the right-wing and backward-sea tendency of the government in which the plight of the working class is ignored, and to embark on a total nationwide shutdown, which will be the mother of all strikes in Namibia after independence. It is time for workers to unite. Let us meet the government at the pickets and demonstrate our unhappiness and grievance by downing tools until our demands are met. United we stand, divided we fall.
This comes after the Namibia Public Workers Union and the Namibia National Teachers Union, the two bargaining unions representing civil servants in negotiations with government, announced that the two parties have been issued with a certificate of unresolved dispute after government only responded to give increments on benefits and maintain a 0% on salaries. The union adds that the last time civil servants received salary increments was in 2017, and in the past 2 years, civil servants have been subjected to unparalleled increases in the price of food, fuel, electricity, and the cost of living.
People are increasingly struggling to cope and survive the prevailing economic challenges. The demand to increase salaries is not undue, but it's motivated by the increasing inflation levels, knock-on effects of COVID-19 and spiraling of cost of living. They can close ceremonial and non-essential positions like the office of the Vice President, who is remunerated together with his wife at the taxpayer's expense. They can cut the many advisors and deputy ministers and top officials, or they can also allow these people to take a pay cut then to be able to attend to salary increments of the civil servants. There are people who have been telling the working class to tighten their belts while their belts are loose. If we have to wait for the economy to recover for the demands of the workers to be met, the wait will be indefinite in the absence of resolute action.
General Secretary within the Namibia Public Workers Union labelled the government's 0% offer as immoral, insensitive, and an act without due regard for the plight of civil servants. The two unions for the financial year 2021 and 2022 demanded 9% on housing allowance, 10% on transport allowance, 10% on motor vehicle allowance, and 5% on basic salary for the financial year 2022 and 2023.
Win free airtime with Learn on One. Tell us what's your favorite subject on Learn on One and win $50 airtime. SMS your answer, name, age, and the town you live in to 555. Standard T's and C's and SMS rates apply. Learn on One. Invite learning in.
A 36-year-old suspect arrested for allegedly forging COVID-19 vaccination cards on Tuesday was granted bail of 5,000 Namibia dollars in the Karatura Magistrates Court yesterday. The suspect, Christophorus Haikali Haufiku, is accused of forging COVID-19 vaccination cards and selling them to members of the public who are seeking employment in the Namibian Defence Force.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
The Commerce Police spokesperson Sila Shipandeni gave an update today stating that Haufiku was granted bail of 5,000 Namibian dollars, adding that as a law enforcement agency, they are disappointed over the court ruling as it hampers the investigation process.
He got bail on the 21st of July, that was yesterday. He got bail of 5,000 Namibian dollars, and this particular suspect, as we speak, he paid that particular bail. So that is to say he is released. So he's outside there, and it was to the disappointment to us as law enforcement, because I have confirmed with the head of investigation at Banaita police station, and he confirmed to say that he totally objected to bail to be granted to this particular suspect. But it turned out otherwise. The news came to us that the suspect was indeed given bail of 5,000 Namibian dollars, of which he even paid at court immediately, and he was released as such. So now the disappointment comes with investigation which we believe were not that complete, and that was also confirmed by the investigator. We are in the criminal justice system, of which the police is just the entrance of the criminal justice system, but then there is always the middle system, which is now the court, and then the correctional facilities. But in this regard, we want to speak specifically the work that we do and then what is done by the court. It's not in our control. We do as much as investigation as possible. We arrest individuals in the society, and we make sure that we align them to necessary cases that are opened against them. That is, go as far as even to deny them bail or to apply to court to say that this particular person must not be given bail. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's not in our control. The court have the last say in that regard. And of course, sometimes it happened that it came out the way we did not want it to be. And then we just have to accept it, because that does not stop our work. We just have to perform the duties, regardless. But it really hampers the investigation, more especially when there is investigation which are not complete, and these individuals are given bail. Definitely. There's a likelihood that they might interfere with the investigation.
He said they are still receiving reports from members of the public about similar incidences happening in other parts of Namibia, and their team is prepared to arrest anyone found selling forged vaccination cards.
We are receiving news from public members, and that is something that we are really appreciating. The publics are coming out. As soon as this information came out of somebody who was caught selling COVID-19 vaccination card, fake COVID-19 vaccination card, we received quite a number of reports coming in to say there are similar incidents happening elsewhere, of which we do not want to reveal now. But our team are hard at work to make sure that those that are going to be found responsible, they will be held accountable, definitely. And that is why we objected in the first place to this suspect person to be given bail in that regard. But then it's not in our control. It's not all in our control. As I said, the court have granted him bail of 5,000 Namibian dollars.
The accused is expected to appear again at Windhoek Magistrate Court on the 8th of September this year.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
Choose boldness and celebrate the skin you're in with Nivea Rich Nourishing. Our triple layered care of deep moisture serum, natural almond oil, and vitamin E enriches your skin for 48 hours. It's time to show off your best skin. Choose to wear your skin with pride with Nivea Rich Nourishing.
The cost of commercial farming practices might prove exorbitant for farmers, but necessary for Namibia to reach economic diversification. The German development agency GIZ is running a project at the Mashare Irrigation Training Center in the Kavango East region that demonstrates primary methods of agriculture, such as the use of organic fertilizer and mulching.
According to the junior consultant of the German Development Agency, Panashe Mangombe, The financial challenges for farmers in Namibia are mostly climate-based. This is why farmers need to revert back to primary methods of farming, such as compost making and using manure as fertilizer rather than artificial products.
We went to the field there at MITC, Mashare Conservation Agriculture Trials field. They gave us a plot there that we used. So what we did is, on the first plot, we had manure. We divided the field into 5 sections. The first plot had manure. The second had compost. The third, we used fertilizer of grinded hoofs and horns, and bones as well, of cattle. And then so we took that and we used it as a fertilizer. In the fourth section of the field, we used what we call B-Grow. So B-Grow is like it's a sugar. It looks like sugar. So when we put it in the soil, and it mixes with water, it turns into a sponge-like form that then stores water and releases it slowly. So that's also, it is a good fertilizer to use during drought season or dry seasons.
Mangombe explained that the project commenced crop planting in February this year and had begun to show germination within 5 to 7 days. Mangombe added that the demonstration plot at Mashare is first-hand proof to farmers that organic fertilizer creates better yields and is less costly for farmers.
We also then had the 5th plot, which was our control, in which we did not put any fertilizer or any treatment. If you're planning to study agriculture, please take the bold step. Provide food for our nation. If we don't teach the youth to farm, who are the future farmers? So we need to start investing in agriculture.
Mangombe says the German Development Agency aims to motivate farmers to be proactive in production output by depending on natural ways to yield better quality crops while alleviating costs.
There are different types of decisions, such as rational, habitual, impulsive, and coin tossing.
Let's get started.
The consumption of poultry containing food poisoning organisms, such as salmonella, but the danger to health can be dramatically reduced.
What about other organisms in the animal kingdom? Well, some animals are ectothermic.
Welcome to Lesson 5 for Grade 10 and 11 Mathematics.
Methodologies and approaches in order to produce relevant and suitable results.
In other leading stories, the Namibia Standards Institution officially opened an inspection center at the coastal town of Walfish Bay this week. The new facility, which cost the government 36 million Namibia dollars in investment, is expected to significantly improve the NSI's inspection and metrology capacity. Officiating the occasion, the Minister of Industrialization and Trade, Lucy Ipumbu, described the project as a remarkable milestone, which underscores government's unyielding resolve to place Namibia in a convenient position within the framework of producing quality products destined for international markets. She also noted that the inspection center has expanded its operations and ability to offer services to the fishing and related industries because of the large size and sustainability of the inspection laboratory. The new facility provides for adequate space to conduct frozen and chilled fish inspections, as it is equipped with both a sensory laboratory and cans inspection laboratory. This means the inspectorate can process a much more diverse product range and process an increased quantity of products, thus allowing the NSI to move beyond frozen fish inspection as its central focus. Ipumbu said, therefore, the funds spent by the government on the project is money well spent, as it will go a long way in serving the country now and in the future.
Choose boldness and celebrate the skin you're in with Nivea Rich Nourishing. Our triple layered care of deep moisture serum, natural almond oil, and vitamin E enriches your skin for 48 hours. It's time to show off your best skin. Choose to wear your skin with pride with Nivea Rich Nourishing.
Joseph Shifeni is standing by for this evening's edition of Business on One.
Welcome to this evening's edition of Business on One. Although the economy remains constrained by the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, iStore Namibia said revenue for 2021 increased by 40%. The Apple products and accessories seller opened a new store at Marua Mall, adding to its already existing store at Grove Mall.
As the leading distributor of Apple products in Namibia, the Core Group opened their first iStore in 2015 in Grove Mall. This week they opened a new iStore in Marua Mall with a chief executive officer of the Core Group noting that this signifies their efforts to expand in the local market and across the region.
Very proud to be opening our second store in Namibia in Marua Mall. Our first store is in the Grove, which opened in 2015. And we're very excited to be opening today on the 22nd of July 2022. This is one of many stores as we expand into the rest of Africa. Yeah, we've got a great team. It's a great store. It's a beautiful store, and we're looking forward to bringing more of Apple to Namibia and the people of Namibia. The Namibian market is an exceptional market. We've experienced some huge growth in the last couple of years, obviously partly due to the COVID pandemic, but we've been very lucky and we feel very privileged to be in the space and representing the Apple brand in Namibia.
The country manager for iStore, Hiram Links, said that they opened the new store after growth increase in revenue last year. Both stores have a staff complement of 26 employees.
The second store is going to support the market so well in terms of alternate avenues of distribution. Yeah. So the store is going to be further supporting students, in the education sector. We're also doing a wholesale business from the store, so further growing the brand into sub-distribution with other smaller partners. Yeah. This is a milestone in our lives. When we have such a small population of 2.5 million people in this country, we are blessed, to be opening a second store. Amidst COVID, we have seen massive growth year on year, in excess of 40%. So this has allowed us to extend and grow the brand even further. So the market has done really well, and the growth kind of lends itself to us further supporting the consumer in this market. Yeah. As you know, we always have new phones coming, but we don't know when. So very similar to the consumer around the world, we wait till Apple makes that announcement, and we find out at the same time as the consumer. I think it's all around the unboxing and the excitement around creating the event. So yeah, we're looking forward to the new product. We're not sure what it's going to be called or when it's coming. So yeah.
Links further invites consumers to visit their iStores in Windhoek and purchase your Apple products of your choice.
The clock has struck for your daily business and financial news update. Brought to you by The Brief.
Namibia's diamond production increased by 67% to 565,000 carats in the second quarter, up from 338,000 carats recorded in the same period last year, figures released on Thursday's show. The rapid increase in diamond production was primarily driven by continued strong performance from the Benguela Gym since the early delivery of the new diamond recovery vessel in Q1 of 2022. The Benguela Gym is Devmarine Namibia's $7 billion vessel, inaugurated in March and expected to boost the company's annual diamond production by an additional 500,000 carats of diamonds. The country's diamond production increased by 25% from 451,000 carats in Q1 of 2022 to 565,000 in quarter 2 of 2022, according to the Anglo-American's operation figures for quarter 2, bringing the country's half-year production to 1,016,000 carats, a 50% increase from 676,000 produced the same period last year. In the period under review, Debmarine's production increased by 98% in quarter 2, with a production of 488,000 carats compared to 249,000 carats produced the same period last year, bringing the Marine Diamond Mining Company's production to 863,000 for the half year, a 73% increase from 498,000 carats produced during the same period last year. French car maker Peugeot is debating the future of its Namibian assembly plant, which was opened in 2018 to build cars for the South African market but has since suspended operations. Peugeot Global Chief Executive Officer Linda Jackson said the company has not yet decided whether to build vehicles in South Africa again. Stellantis, the Euro-based motor group whose brands include Peugeot, Citroën, Fiat, Jeep, Opel and Alfa Romeo, has previously put out feelers in South Africa to investigate the feasibility of vehicles being built in the neighboring country. Previously, Peugeots were built under contract by other motor companies. Jackson's pronouncement to Business Day comes as the Namibian Peugeot Opel assembly plant situated in Walvis Bay, in which the Namibian government owns 49% stake, with French automaker group PSAs having a majority 51%, suspended operations due to its inability to export vehicles out of the country to South Africa, the region's biggest market. Namibia's tourism sector is expected to provide support to overall economic growth in 2022, following a recent rise in national occupancy rates and foreign arrivals, which are creeping closer to pre-pandemic levels, Simone Storm has said. In its latest quarterly gross domestic figure analysis, Simone Storm noted that the hotels and restaurant sector expanded by 4.4% year-on-year in the first quarter of 2022. At the same time, a national occupancy rate of 32% was recorded during June 2022, compared to 39.4% in the prior month and 16.7% in June 2021, according to information provided by the Hospitality Association of Namibia. Year to date, the national occupancy rate averages 29.6% compared to 21.5% for the same period in 2021, showing an improvement in tourist inflows. Provisional bookings across most hospitality establishments indicate that Namibia's high tourism season, which is July to September, should see much improved levels compared to 2021.
This was your daily Namibian business and financial news update. For in-depth stories, read more on thebrief.com.na now.
And that is all we have for you. Be sure to follow us on our social media pages for more on the business front.
Free shopping is back at Spar, where we're putting smiles on the faces of thousands of Spar Rewards customers when they win their shopping for free. Just shop any participating product, swipe your Spar Rewards card, and go big with 5 Roses tagless tea bags, 100s for just $41.99, and Baker's Eat Some More biscuits for only $20.99. Win your shopping instantly, only at Spar.
Time now for Comments Corner, your daily dose of comments from our social media pages. The 35-year-old Elago Nantana, who started walking from the mouth of the Orange River in Oranjemund on the 1st of June en route to Katima Mulilo, said he embarked on this journey to touch the lives of 111 men with the word of God. Shashi Shemo says he should end the journey in Rundu because of the predators after that. Makuhepo said instead of Katima Mulilo, Natana should have chosen Ovamboland. Rusa says someone should follow him in a car. Vernon says there is no walking zone between Kongola and Bobwata National Park. Lau says it is prohibited to step out of the vehicle when in the national park. Santos says a battalion should be sent to take him through the park. Joe says Natana knows the route and those bringing up the national park are enemies of progress. Kalumbu will comment at the end of August. That is all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast only on Today on One.
Hello world! So we are going to a place where lots of goodies and cookies, lots of cakes and everything.
This is your passion? Yes, I love this.
You're not baking. What would you have been doing?
I would be sitting in an office.
So you guys should come through. If you guys are lazy to cook, now you know where to find some meals.
Guys, order and let us support our locals, guys. Yes. It's very, very important. Guys, and our cake is very, very nice.
It's very addictive. It's not even a joke.
Wow.
Is it safe? Can you check? Huh?
It's on me hard, bro.
I think it's hot.
Time now for Sport on One with Castro Ulumbu.
Welcome to Sports on One. I'm your host Castro Ulumbu. 3 days before flying out to represent the country at the Commonwealth Games in England, Namibian young gymnasts woke up to news that they have not yet been accredited by the Federation of International Gymnastics to compete in a multi-sport event. According to an email sent out by the Federation of International Gymnastics, the reason the two teenagers, both aged 16, are not accredited is due to the fact that the Namibian gymnastic bodies Kanjo and Shaina Scatter received news that they have not yet been accredited by the Federation of International Gymnastics, despite getting assurance last week from Namibia Sports Commission Chief Administrator during the send-off event that they will represent the country at the Games. One of the young gymnasts, 16-year-old Emilia Ikanjo, expressed her disappointment after being informed that she might not participate at the Games. However, Ikanjo is confident she will receive good news that she will compete at the Games in Birmingham, England. Her coach, Hannes Neyman, also shared the same sentiments and pleaded with the FIG to accredit the young athletes.
We're still waiting for the news that if we'll be going to the Commonwealth Games, and it does disappoint me a little bit because I've worked very hard for this, and this is any gymnast dream to go anywhere, like to travel internationally and to raise our flag high and to make Namibia be known more by other countries. We've worked hours and weekends, and missed social events that we could have gone to, but we decided to be committed to our sport and do what we want to do because we know that we can do something with it and it can take us somewhere. I'm definitely expecting good news, and I hope that it's a yes and that we can go, and then I can show my skills and I can make my country proud.
I know how hard these two gymnasts work, 3 hours a day, and this opportunity comes once in a lifetime. At their age, they are on the peak. If you're 16, this is the time you're the best. So I feel these gymnasts must get this opportunity, and anybody can help us to assist these gymnasts to go to the Commonwealth Games. And I'm pleased everybody who can help us to get these two girls to Birmingham and to do their best and show what they've been working for.
The Namibia National Olympic Committee President Abner Khwakhob in an interview gave clarity on the matter as to why the FIG is failing to accredit the two athletes to compete at the Games.
The situation what we are having at this end is that NAMGEM is also suspended by the International Federation. That leaves the athletes basically in a limbo, in an open space, whereby we cannot get licensing of the athletes because there is no NAMGEM, they are suspended. The International Federation don't want to recognize the NGF, which is the Namibia Gymnastics Federation. So in the absence of that, somebody should take the responsibility to license these children. If there is any dispute of disconnect with a national federation, then the Olympic Committee will, in that case, make a ruling that the athletes should not be affected. And then the athletes will then be allowed to participate in the Games under the flag of the International Olympic Committee. Now, we have a similar situation right now. There is nobody recognized and affiliated to the International Federation. They don't want to recognize the submission of the federation, which is endorsed by this Ministry, Sport Commission, Olympic Committee, and Commonwealth. In the absence of that, it is a responsibility of the International Federation to make sure that the athletes are not affected. And that's why they should have taken up the responsibility, especially the Secretary General of the International Federation, take up the responsibility, supported by the President of the International Federation, who would have said that we will take up these athletes, and these athletes are going to participate at the Commonwealth Games under the flag of the International Federation. So they can then basically allow these athletes to participate at the Games under the FIG flag. And that is basically what we are waiting. We have communicated. I've sent an email to the Secretary General, Mr. Nicholas, and it's now about 72 hours. I didn't receive a feedback on that and so on. So we are working around the clock to make sure that the athletes get to Birmingham and they participate and so on. We have made provisions. We have opened tickets for the athletes. Anytime we resolve these issues, they will get on the plane and they will fly out to Birmingham and so on. But we are asking the Namibians to back these athletes. These are under 16 children, and they got nothing to do with all these dynamics and happenings which are happening and so on.
Namibia has named 32 sportsmen to represent the country at the Commonwealth Games. Thank you for watching. Catch us again next week for more updates on Sports on One.
Thanks a lot, Castro. Let's take a look at the weather forecast.
Now a look at tomorrow's weather forecast. The interior will be partly cloudy and warm to hot. The coast will be partly cloudy and mild to warm. Wind will be moderate northeasterly to southwesterly. Here's what travelers can expect at places in and around the country.
That is all we have for you. Do join us for an omnibus tomorrow from 9 to 2. And don't forget to follow us on our social media pages. From me, Maggie Forciero, and the rest of the team. Till next time, it's good night.
The International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
Hello, my name is Lara Solomskutsia, and this is my message to you. We all have a choice. Your choice does not only affect you, but mostly affect those around you. Please stay at home in order for you to help us save lives. This is not a rehearsal. Please stay at home.
Humanitarian crises are all too familiar to television viewers. Civil wars that cause huge movements of refugees, worldwide pandemics, and natural disasters like earthquakes and tsunamis. This is the way most of us are used to seeing these heart-wrenching events, on a screen in front of us, watching passively. But what if you could step into the frame and actually feel what it's like for the individuals on the ground?
People come out of it feeling enlightened and often moved and often ready to take action. A lot of people automatically say, well, what can I do? How can I get involved?
Garbo Aurora is leading a team at the United Nations who are using cutting-edge technology to raise awareness, empathy, and funds both to respond to humanitarian crises and to bolster support for a new set of sustainable development goals around the globe.
Virtual reality is the ability to really take part in a story that usually you're only a passive spectator on. And you actually get the sensation of feeling like you're being there.
By using multiple cameras that can record in all directions and software that can stitch the images together, virtual reality creates an experience that enables the viewer to see a movie from every angle, above, below, and behind.
It's exciting for the UN, to be involved in some of those early experiments of how we're trying to tell stories, make these films, and work with some of the most cutting-edge people in the industry on it.
So the UN reached out to us and connected, and we realized that there was a great opportunity here to tell some very important stories and to tell them in a way that we thought would be totally new and highly impactful. The way that I define virtual reality at this point in time is basically the hacking of your senses to convince you that you're somewhere other than where you are. Often, I think of it as a sense of vulnerability. So one of the things we've realized in some of our stories is you have a heightened sense of empathy and a heightened sense of connection as a result of that vulnerability.
That heightened sense of connection and empathy was exactly what Garbo Aurora was looking to create at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Not only to inspire leaders to take action, but also to influence donors to increase funding for disaster response efforts.
I'd started experimenting with using innovative ways of advocacy, and I started talking to a lot of different partners and people. What could we do that would be incredible? And someone said, you know, I just came from a meeting at Samsung and, you know, with some of these other virtual reality headsets, wouldn't it be amazing if you got all of those elite people who could actually go to a refugee camp, or they could go to an Ebola clinic? I just really felt it would get our issues highlighted.
In addition to the screenings at Davos, virtual reality portals have been set up to view the films at high-level political forums around the world. The virtual reality film on display was Clouds Over Sidra.
Clouds Over Sidra is a short film in virtual reality about a girl named Sidra who lives in Zaatari camp, which is a Syrian refugee camp in Jordan. And it is a story about a young girl who is giving you a tour of the camp, of what it's like, what her life is like. When the film debuted in Davos, it was a sensation to everyone we showed it to. They come out of it very deeply moved. I'd say half the people who watch Clouds Over Sidra cry. And then we cut a version for UNICEF for its face-to-face fundraisers. The way they do that is usually someone with a clipboard on the street in Europe or in different countries. So they thought, well, what if we got people to experience virtual reality on the street?
Quite sad. They don't have a good environment to stay. We try our best to help them.
Early reporting from UNICEF has shown that when using virtual reality, they've doubled the effectiveness of their fundraising efforts. This report was produced by Ben Lybrand for the United Nations.
Honestly, I've never been so anxious to like flip a card.
In your whole life?
My whole entire life. I think it's because I'm probably used to, like, I must know.
You're used to having the information.
Yeah. you know, I'm like, I know what I'm gonna ask her more. Now I'm on the other side and I'm just like, can we just? And I can't flip the card up until it's my turn, right? Yeah. Let's have a conversation.
I think for me, art is important.
Ooh.
Art is everything. But I think first of all, it's important.
I think again, you know, it's about being a nice person, isn't it? You know, just because somebody's being nasty to you on the road, or you don't necessarily have to be the same as them.
Always were told you needed to have X, Y, and Z. Like at school already, they're telling you what do you want to be. You're like, I don't even know what I'm now. I'm going to know what I'm then.
I like football.
Like, relax. Let me just get through today.
This is a nice question.
Okay.
Let us
Is
hear
it about...
No, I wish it was. I wish it was about but it's not.
I'd like to just explain to you a little bit about the formation of the Sea of Sand that we have in the Namib. What you can see now is just an overlay of a map, the Sea of Sand. We're just going to draw the rest of Southern Africa in here to give you a bigger perspective of where we are. We'll have Namibia over here. And we'll have South Africa below, Zimbabwe, Botswana and Mozambique on the outside. We are here in Swakopmund, and we've got a very small slither of dune field that you see here that's only 30 kilometers long, 5 kilometers wide. This is the major Sea of Sand, which includes Sossusvlei and Deadvlei, which goes into the south of the country and into northern South Africa there. So the beginning of the Sea of Sand that you see here today is in South Africa. We've got a very big mountain range here, known as the Drakensberg. And off the Drakensberg come lots of rivers and streams The main river forming that we have to do with today is the Orange River. So millions of years worth of sand and sediments eroding down the mountain range into the Atlantic Ocean. In the Atlantic Ocean, we have the cold Benguela current. That keeps the ocean temperatures between 10 and 14 degrees Celsius through the year. So, in the south of Namibia, we've got a little town called Lüderitz Bay. Offshore from Lüderitz, we have the South Atlantic anticyclone. That generates the southwesterly wind 90% of the year along the coast of Namibia. So what happens? Sand is forced out into the ocean. The Benguela current takes that sand and forces it back onto the beach. So effectively you have a dune forming in the south of Namibia. But that dune must get to where it is today, and it is taken there by this anticyclone. So that anticyclone picks up the dry sand, slowly forces it inland over time. If you look at these dunes here, these are long lines of dunes. You can actually think of those as waves in the ocean moving inland with a ripple effect in this direction. Until there is a natural boundary in the eastern side, this is known as the Central Plateau or the highland of Namibia. You can think of this as a wall going from south to north of Namibia. From the wall to the coast, there's a drop-off. So that'll be the definition of the whole coast from south to north, a very gradual slope. Off the drop-off is where we get all our dry river systems. It stops at the Central Plateau, the sand that moves with the wind. It cannot go any further, but it has to move somewhere. So this sand is still moving in a northerly fashion. It stops at the northern boundary, which is the dry Quisepe River system. And like all the other dry rivers, this only floods every 3 to 7 years. The river flushes and it takes down all that water back into the Atlantic Ocean. So this is an overspill of the major sea of sand. Eventually this should fill up. It will close off this Quisepe system. It'll look like a cut line, like the Tsondap River and the Tsauchap River. Eventually, the Swakop River will be the northern boundary. And then another dune field will start north of Swakop. It will fill up along the Omaruru, and eventually the Omaruru will take on the northern stance. The only time it will stop is when the source is finished. If the Drakensberg is completely flat, there will be no sand to send to grow our desert. But that's not a possibility in our new future. The Drakensberg is still very large. The oldest dunes are actually at the Namib Desert Lodge. Those are the petrified or fossil dunes. These are between 80 and 100 million years old. They reached the plateau first. They stopped there. With the press of water coming down the plateau over millennia, it pressed those into sandstone. So therefore now we have the fossil dunes, which are stable, and on the coast we still have the moving dunes.